Currently, he is working as a professor and head of Department of Electrical and Electronics in Raja Lakshmi Engineering College, Chennai. Now, I would like to invite him to share his views.
Engineering College, Chennai. This is not the first visit to the campus here. I think last year I presented on recent trends in wireless technologies. We are aware that this is the Faculty Development Training Program, FDP. It is meant for faculty members. How many of you are from students in this crowd? All of you. So, my presentation basically covers from research perspective because the faculty development program need to be addressed in some research issues. Okay, fine. We'll touch upon with a simple theoretical work in optical fiber communication. Before start of this session, I think that there are some prerequisites needed to understand this, whatever we are talking about for fundamentals. How many of you are already gone through the course optical fiber communication in networking, one or the other form? Any of you already learned optical communication? Which semester is covered? Current semester. I think I understood most of the students are going through this optical communication course. Probably whatever the term which we are talking about in this section may be familiar to you. We'll briefly overview the research aspect of some sense in optical fibers. So to make you feel comfortable, I don't put any expression in this presentation. Probably I have not included the slide number because there are different councils putting a slide number. I put a slide number 48. Everybody will start from 10, 11, 12, will look for time and slide number. So I don't want to put you into that further. So mostly that number only here, I hope so. This fiber communication is a simple, very generic topic, but it follows the research perspective. The short presentation dealing with the multi-gigabit transmission over multimode optical fibers. I think I don't find any, it's not posing questions to the audience. If I pose some simple question to the audience, if you revert back to me, at least you are alive, so that I also feel comfortable in the presentation, so that both of us will at least will touch with whatever topic we are talking about. With that intention, we will solve some questions. If you have anything in your mind, please ask us. Even if we need to understand, we are from academician, we are also from academic, we are also academicians. We have a different perspective because we differ from industrial persons. These persons work in industry, specifically communication industry or technical specifications, we are dealing with the various projects and components and other things. We are not up to that. So as academician, by principle, how it works, how it is different, how we need to understand, how to take this, all basic concepts we can take it. So title is very simple, multi-gigabit transmission, multimode optical fiber. First of all, we need to understand why this title evolved first. There is issues in transmitting this multi-gigabit information through the multimode fiber. That is why the topic is came over here. Otherwise, this transmission is easier, possible in optical fiber, multimode fiber, this topic won't arise. So in simple general view, we have a multimode fiber, SI and GI. If you take a single mode fiber, we are very well aware this, it's very much useful for high data rate applications. Compared to these two, multimode and single mode fibers are very commonly used because we want to do some video conferencing, we want to send some whatever the image, text, whatever the information, multimedia information, we want to push it through a common channel. So if the number of application demand by the customer increases, naturally the bandwidth also keep increasing. But bandwidth is a very scarce resource. That's why people are talking about 2G, there is a scam cases going on, 3G, there is another cases going on because very costly resource. Bandwidth is a very costly resource. How effectively we utilize, that is the issue. It's a very high bitrate application, high bandwidth application. How to relate bitrate and bandwidth? We also handle 16 as strength in a class. Whenever we throw some questions, I am very sure my student will not answer any question. It's a nowadays present scenario or convention. Nobody will answer because that itself is a job. You think if you know something, you please tell us so that you can go with an elaborate. How this bit rate and bandwidth are related? Sure. Now every application, if you look, either will have a bandwidth term or bit rate term. In general, in the modern digital communication system, everything we talk about bit rate. The rate at which information are transmitted, bit rate. We say 1 megabit, 100 megabit, 1 gigabit per second of bit rate. In general theory, it says bit rate is approximately equal to the bandwidth. Suppose 1 megabit per second data rate will mean approximately the system bandwidth is 1 megabytes. It's bits per second. Here it is megabytes. It's not an odd rule, it should match this. But in general, we can understand bit rate is approximately equal to bandwidth. But in this case, multimode fibers, in general, fiber offers infinite bandwidth, we all know, or otherwise it supports very high bandwidth signals, it supports. But compared to the single mode and multimode, single mode supports high data rate application rather than multimode. These reasons definitely it is covered in a regular curriculum itself, because the advantage single mode, it supports high bit rate. The reason simple, the mode or the number of mode supported by the single mode is less. In multi-mode, the number of modes supported by is large. It's very simple. How many modes is single mode fiber will support? How many modes the fiber single mode fiber will support? Because name itself is single. So single mode will support single mode. Right? Single mode fiber. But theoretically, it supports two modes. That is what the term normalized cutoff frequency, I think you might have studied normalized cutoff frequency, is always termed as V number. V number. What are this? Some expression. That tells the number of modes supported by the fiber. So V number, if you see this number 2.404, some number they will arrive theoretically. That means practically it supports two modes, but here it says single mode fiber supports single mode. The advantage is that if you support single mode fiber only one mode support, there is no much of intermodal dispersion. Again the question arises, what is dispersion? Dispersion we can understand in a simple sense, pulse broadening. Pulse pushed it to the channel. After a certain time T1, you will find this, the pulses will be slightly broaden. Measure this pulse shape after time T2, again broaden. So once it's after time Tn, if you look, the perfect square pulse is spreaded and it is like a flattened pulse, flattened shape. So every adjacent pulses become flattened, you will find this one pulse will interfere with other pulse. That is called simple interference. Normally in communication we study IS, inter-symbol interference. Pulse broadening, pulse widening, pulse spreading. So, if there is a dispersion occurred, intermodal dispersion means if more number of modes supported, the interference among these modes will create a kind of a distortion or dispersion. In general, we term as attenuation. So, it's transmission over multimode fiber. Now, how to deal with this issue? That is what some techniques are developed. So we'll try to just touch upon those title and then we'll leave this session. Because there is no point in going in depth to the analysis, showing some graph, definitely you will get bored. Because my nature of presentation, normally student will get sleepy, when you short it. So that is the thing. And also we understood this is the afternoon session after 2 o'clock. There are two difficult things in this world. First is very soft, smooth, climbing this slope, very difficult. The another very difficult task is listening a lecture after the lunch. But we are in a very tough position because I came here for some purpose, so I need to do that purpose. You are also sitting here for some specific purpose.
Pointer is there.
Fiber standards. ITU, I think probably the communication also many things that is defined by ITU, Telecommunication Union. This GR253, FCPI and IEEE 802.3 AE, Gigabit Ethernet. The presentation completely covers with this last one, IEEE 802.3 Gigabit Ethernet. And this is a very simple multimode fiber geometry. The purpose is to only to take into that multimode fiber structure and related research issues. So otherwise it is nothing. We know this simple schematic. 50 dia core. We know cladding. Refracting the profile is GA, gradient profile, and then we know this all the structure fiber core and other things. Just to make you to understand what is that GA profile benefit. We have two different profiles, step index profile and gradient index profile. We have a comparison between these two. This fiber specifically dealing with MIGA fiber. What is the advantage of going for GA profile, gradient index profile instead of step? I need to give a pass. That means you have to come to some. Not sure. The simple reason why we go for GA profile compared to the step index profile. In an SI profile, the rays which follows in a straight line, because core refractive index is constant, cladding refractive index is constant. Refractive index is constant in the sense the ray is propagating with the same velocity. So it going straight, hitting and getting reflected. Reflecting, we know the property called total inverted reflection. The ray has to meet and to get reflected inside the core and then propagates further. Instead of going and hitting straight, because there is a possibility of refraction when it hits straight. If the ray hits this core cladding boundary in straight, there is a possibility it get refracted. Energy which is getting refracted is of no use. So it has to get completely, totally internally to be reflected around the core. So instead of going and hitting in straight, allow the ray to go in a very smooth trajectory and meeting this boundary and smoothly bend inside the fiber core itself. So making the very smooth curved fashion, constant refractive index will not help you for us. So we have a gradient refractive index profile, so that different refractive index, rays will get multiple refraction. Once it meets this TIR condition, it will get reflected inside the fiber. So it takes a very smooth trajectory and it will take a smooth curve like this. Instead of straight, it takes this path. Only the refractive index profile index value is at the core axis. The refractive index value gradually decreasing towards the core plane, gradually decreasing. Advantage is this, allow the ray to take a smoother fashion, avoid this refraction and make this ray very smooth. There is a laser, another one is the M1 fiber. Whenever we looking for a high gigabit application, we have to go for a laser. In general, in a short, we have two sources, LED and laser. We have a single and multi-mode. We have a pin and APD. We have to make a best combination out of this. So multi-mode fiber, it supports more mode. LED, which emits more number of modes. So their pin is a very simple detector to detect. So combination best is LED, multi-mode fiber, pin detector. It's a very simple combination. So LED which emits more light, multiple modes. Coupling will be more to the multi-mode fiber. Multi-mode fiber supports many modes. The detector sensitivity is okay, acceptable. We can use a split, best combination. LED, multi-mode, pin. What is the other best combination? What is the other best combination? And just opposite to this term, we will get the answer. LED just what is the other? What is the other two famous detectors? Pin and APD, average photo detector. So Avlanche photodetector is highly sensitive than pink. So laser, single mode fiber, APD is the best combination. But in this case, we are trying to match laser with MM. Okay. Laser, we want to have an hybrid application. Laser modulation is very well suited. So MM we need to take. Other side suitable fiber is SM, but we want to use this MM fiber for laser. There is a concern. That is why the topic arises. So we have a laser one side. Suitable is SM, but we have an MM fiber already laid down in many applications. We don't want to replace the entire multi-mode fiber network, and replacing with the single mode fiber is very costly. So because already huge cost invented on multi-mode fiber. So to achieve this hybrid type application, by using this laser, existing this multi-mode infrastructure, we want to realize. That is what the research is focused on. First thing, laser emission spatially localized. It's very simple. Take an LED, take a laser. Switch on these two devices. LED, I think probably one LED that will give the light for the entire room. Suppose red color LED you will understand, you will find most part of the room is covered with LED. But laser, you just observe, there is a single point laser, right? So this shows this highly collimated beam which is available, highly confined, highly coherent beam which is delivered from this laser. LED is not, the emission surface is large. The large surface emission is taking place. Coupling become tough. That's why we do a windowing, channelizing. We put a gate and crowd to pass through the gate is very simple. The gate size is large, very difficult to control the crowd like this. And also frequently we come across the term called mode. What is mode? How to understand mode? In optical communication, wherever you see fundamental mode, higher order mode, lower order modes, mode theory, many places we come across the word called mode. In a simple theory, how to understand modes? Any idea? Conduction. We can very roughly understand the mode is whenever your light switched on, it emits bunches of rays. Right? That's what we feel is a light. Whenever a light source is switched on, it emits bunches of rays. There, each ray is regarded as a mode. We can put it that way, at least some sense we can understand this. Each ray is regarded as a mode. Internally there are too many classifications are there, we don't want to meddle all those things. To make you understand, feel comfortable with the codes, we can understand modes which are the rays which are emitted from the source. Each ray is regarded as a mode. We will keep it close. Now the laser emission is spatially localized because confined, and also the source emission is coherent. What is coherent? These words normally we come across in digital communication in any course. Optical communication, quite often you will find this word called phase. What is coherent? Good. Same? Very. Emitted light rays are in phase, and they are in coherent. That's why you say like-minded people, they are in phase, they are in coherent, because they have the same ideas, like this. So laser emission is spatially localized. Region is much narrower than the light, because whenever you see this emission area of the laser compared to the multi-mode fiber dimension, we cannot match these two. Say for example, I'll give a simple illustration. Take a single mode fiber of dimension 8 to 12 microns. The single mode fiber core dia is 8 to 12 microns. But the 8 to 12 microns, we get a laser source, we can easily couple these two. But if you take a laser of very smaller in size, emission area smaller in size, but fiber dia is 60 micrometer. Where is the 10 microns? Where is the 60 microns? 60 microns. So there itself there is a problem with these two, making this connection. So fiber core area, partial excitation of mode, consistent pulse broadening. Because these are the inherent properties of this multimode fiber. So multimode fiber, again, pulse broadening is a very deeper problem. That is one of the issue between this laser with the multimode. There is another concern with these two combinations. Laser is a coherence. We often use multimode connectors. Not only this multimode coupling connectors, there are various components connectors, MM connectors, so that intensity dependent speckle noise. So these two will create a speckle noise. Speckle noise normally termed as a modal noise. Speckle noise. If you see the pattern of the speckle noise, you will find this some black dots like patches will be there. And third one, power distribution among this mode depends on various conditions, launch polarization, random output fluctuation, all this. Power distribution is a very important concern. There is a two cases single mode multimode fiber. These two cases, power coupled into the fiber multimode is large. Each mode contributes some amount of power. Fine. Multimode, many modes are supported. Naturally, the power contributed by this multimode is carried by the multimode is larger. Single mode. So each mode, one or two modes will be coupled. So power coupled into the fiber is lower. Again, the power distribution is also another issue in this combination of the single and multimode with the laser source. Offset launch in a multimode fiber. So how to deal with this issue? One of the research solution it gives, there is a core, there is a cladding, again there is a geometry is shown, there is a laser spot, you will find this offset. You can just compare these two, you will find this laser offset, laser spot and then offset. Mean, instead of exciting this multimode fiber with the laser in the core, slightly put an offset means something plus del x, this is offset. If you want to have an x value, x plus del x is an offset. So slightly excite this fiber with a given offset. Okay. There is a problem called offset launch. Offset launch means putting a laser point, laser spot and a fiber core, the middle of the fiber core, slightly put an offset value and excite the fiber and study how the single mode fiber or multimode fiber reacts. That is called this offset launch in a multimode fiber. This technique will take it to some extent, which allows this multi-gigabit transmission through this multimode fibers. So it's very simple. There are three techniques which are talking about how to go with this problem of addressing this multimode fiber with a laser. First one is the electronic dispersion compensation, optical mode filtering and quaternary pulse amplitude modulation, PA. I think these terms also will not new to you. Some or the other, one of the unit you will also study all these terms. We will introduce this electronic dispersion compensation. First of all, dispersion compensation. Anything do you recollect about this dispersion compensation? I think the syllabus they study DCF, dispersion compensating fibers. Right? DCF, dispersion compensating fibers, DCF. Any idea? Right? This dispersion compensation, what are the three attenuation wavelengths offers very low attenuation wavelengths? There are certain wavelengths which offers low attenuation. What are those wavelengths? See, some of the things you need to put it in your mind always. It will be helpful for you to some places, at least in the campus. Whenever you go for a core industry, you get opportunities, reach. You will be asked some such simple questions. You don't need to rush through many textbooks and seeing what various videos and not like simple things. You should always keep it. These are very simple things. When you complete these optical fiber codes, you should aware of these very fundamental tips. don't need to remember equation of a diode current, equation of a laser, difficult. Leave it. Mode theory, ray theory, leave it. Circular cylindrical wave structure, the derivation of E and Maxwell's equation, difficult, leave it. But some of the fundamental things, as a student, we should always remember things. I would like to know from you what are the different wavelengths which offers very low attenuation. Probably you are aware, you don't want to express it, but express it. I think probably we are going back towards the theory. It starts from this attenuation to the optical fiber communication. I understood somewhere in the middle we will start and proceed, but slowly we are going back to the concept and theories of optical systems. Anyway, if you understand something in an hour, that's fine. What are the different wavelengths which are offered very low attenuation? Do you remember this curve? Wavelength versus attenuation. You don't remember? Good. There is a wavelength versus attenuation curve. One of the other part in your syllabus, definitely you need to understand and recollect. The graph will look like this. This is wavelength in lambda, attenuation in alpha. If you see this, there are three windows of operation. First window, second window and third window. The first window of operation centered around 850 nanometers, somewhere 850. The second window of operation 1300 nanometers, somewhere here 1550 nanometers. You heard of these three wavelengths? Because whenever you go into the course of optical communication, this is the starting point. You can understand this curve and then you have to study the theories. There is a simple curve showing wavelength versus attenuation. Attenuation curve, these characteristics were well studied by scientists and they plotted this characteristic of this material silica and they observed this observation. There is a wavelength called 850 nanometer that is called as a single window of operation centered around 850 nanometer. We can establish any optical application centered around 850 nanometer. The second window of operation they studied called 1300 nanometer and third window of operation called 1550 nanometer. These three wavelengths are near the regions 850 to 840 to 860, 1300, 1290 to 1310, 1550, 1400 to 600. That range offers very low attenuation. Wavelengths are three windows of operation they will say, and these three wavelengths are lower attenuation wavelengths. Any application, any fiber, any source, any detector, any optical component you design, they are wavelength dependent. They are wavelength dependent. So these wavelengths must be supported by the fiber. These wavelengths must be supported by the component, optical component which we fabricate and use in the network. So even any time if anyone asks about this optical fiber, this is a very important starting point. These three wavelengths of operations are used in communication optical. Anywhere, any point of view if you touch, these three wavelengths will be predominantly used. They will not use simply 400, they will not use 1200, they will not take. These wavelengths centered around only the optical applications are developed. Can you repeat what are the three wavelengths? 850, 1300 nanometer, 1550 nanometer. So three. Out of these three, the lowest attenuation is offered by 850 somewhere here. This is attenuation, right? Attenuation normally it takes minus value. minus value it will take. So lowest attenuation is offered by 1550 nanometer. Reasonably okay 50, better 1300. These three. Out of three wavelengths, 1550 nanometer is the lowest wavelength. So the combination is goes like LED operating with 850 nanometer, multimode fiber, pin. The second combination, laser 1300 or 1550 nanometer, single mode fiber, APD. This is how they will make this combination when you develop this optical network. Crosswise is very difficult. Taking an LED to this region or single mode into that region is very difficult. So better combination they will arrive at. Now our scenario is now multimode fiber with 1300. We have a problem now. This multimode fiber with 1300. That is why the entire topic arises. Right? So there is another problem called dispersion, compensating fiber, dispersion shifted fiber. There is a concept. We'll see. Dispersion shifted fiber what they will do, attenuation is low in 850 nanometer, but dispersion is low in different wavelengths. But we want to have both in single value, right? Attenuation also to be lower, dispersion also to be lower. If these two are lower, we have a better system. So we use fiber called dispersion shifted fiber, which is centered around this 1.3 micrometer. So this is a dispersion curve. So if you are able to shift this dispersion from lower wavelength to the 1300, we have a DSF. Dispersion shifted fiber, name called DSF, dispersion shifted fiber. Mean attenuation is lowered at some value, wavelength. Dispersion is lowered at some value. They are trying to bring it to the single wavelength so that dispersion, attenuation, both are lowered, so that it gives them a better advantage for optical system. Do you remember this curve similar to the dispersion shifted? Have this? Any idea? We have a dispersion shifting, attenuation and dispersion, both are shifting to single wavelength. And then the next topic is called DCF. DCF, compensation. What is this dispersion? Why we need to compensate? How we compensate? So dispersion compensation is very simple. We have already touched what is dispersion compensation. Now it is electronic dispersion compensation technique to mitigate these effects. Let's put a electronic dispersion compensation and then compensate this dispersion and make a restructured pulse and then decode it. Then optical pulse reduction loudness, because the signal which is arrived at the fiber is very low noise amplifier and then pass it to the least. So to achieve this high bitrate capability, so low bitrate requirement, third, which is the very most complicated part of a communication system. There are many blocks in communication system: transmitter, channel, receiver, all modulated, demodulated, encoder, source, decoder. So many blocks we use in the communication system. So out of all those things, equalizer is the very most difficult part of the communication system, complicated structure. The reason equalizer is not aware of how signals are distorted. For the given distorted signal, it is to equalize and getting the original signals to the required structure. So it is equalizing, compensating the effect of noise which is introduced to the. So complicated part in a communication system is an equalizer. That is very important and critical part of it. So we have two different equalizers. Probably you might have remembered this feed-forward equalizer and decision feedback equalizers. Equalizes the effect of channels. These two, because we need to put it in the receiver. And FE feed-forward equalizer, pulse shape, re-establish a proper pulse shape. That's inter-symbol interference pattern. You will find the next point, inter-symbol interference power. We are looking for both because we also need to have a power cut. Wherever the system demands low power, better. Because we don't want to unnecessarily waste for transmission of this power for a signal, for accurate signal to noise ratio. So we are very strict in power. We don't want low signal power, but still the accurate signal to noise ratio must make. So we don't have any compromise with the signal to noise ratio, but any system which demands low signal power, it's better. So again, these two are related to this one. How this electronic dispersion compensation can be described, or entire function of this EDC described in two steps. First is this FFE feed-forward equalizer, meant for inter-symbol interference, and second one DFE decision feedback equalizer, meant for inter-symbol interference power. This keyword you remember, all other things you can read. What is the issues in EDC approach? This EDC approach is because there are three approaches we will summarize only to make you understand. First thing, efficiency of the FFE filter depends on the number of taps. If you recollect digital communication equalizer concepts, you will find this the filters, the pair filters that are designed will have a number of filters in communication. The number of taps in equalizer, how this communication environment. Is you can very vague guess you can get the answer. We have a number of taps of the equalizers. In a wireless environment, a free space environment, we need to understand how taps will be designed. Any guess? In a wireless environment, we know we have a receiver here. We have a receiver here. There is a transmitter. In a general free space environment, we cannot always ensure it's the line of sight condition. Line of sight is source and receiver. They are in line. Receiver is in vicinity with the transmitter. They are in line. If the system, receiver and transmitter, they are in line of sight, there is no problem because signal power is expected to be the high. If SNR is high, DR will be met. But if they are not in line of sight, definitely signal has to reach the receiver through multiple paths. The ray will get reflected on the walls and receive. The ray will get reflected on the trees and will receive. The ray will reflect on the ground will receive. So, if they are not in line of sight, at the receiver side, the transmitted signal may reach through multiple paths. Okay, each may be having different. Each path signal may have different signal power, phase attenuation. Because there is a receiver, there is a transmitter, they are not in line of sight, so signal has to traverse through different multiple paths. With the signal experiencing multiple paths, they may get reflected in different phase angle. They may experience the atmosphere with a different attenuation level. So signal arrived at the receiver in the multipath environment. Each signal arrived through multiple paths may have different phase, different signal power. Phase also will vary because the phase of the signal will get varied based on the type of reflecting object. If the ray go and hit the stone, it reflected, the phase will be different. The same thing, the signal will hitting on the wooden wall and then getting reflected phase of the things will be different. Loss also different, phase also will be different. So it is also type of the reflecting object. Sometimes reflecting object will be in 200 components to be fabricated in the same space. If you want to fabricate 200 components over the same space, what we will do? The only option is we need to reduce the size of the gate. Is it possible to keep on reducing the size of the gate? Is there any limitation? Because by theory we understand the size of the gate reduce, more number of components will be packed on the wafer. Fine. Is there any limitation in restricting the size of these gates? You don't need any technical input to answer this question. By just understanding itself, common physical answer. There is a mobile phone. Mobile phone. In the early version of mobile phone, if you look in the older cinemas, you will find that it's like a brick-like structure. So they hold this phone like there will be a huge antennas fixed and they keep talking. Later, the size of this mobile phone came down. Width of this came down, and later the phones with weight very high. Very difficult to carry, putting in the packet and all this because weight is normally determined by the weight of the battery, the size of the battery. Later they got lithium battery or iron battery, so many batteries now came, very lightweight batteries are came. So mobile phone, double fold, triple fold, sliding, so many models came. Now very slim models have come. All these are possible because of integration of components in a very smaller area. So as the VLSI industry is growing, they are capable of integrating many component function blocks in a same area. So that you will find so many pixels of this camera, 2 camera and MIMO antennas, 4 antennas fixed in the back side of this mobile phone and too many functions, all internet data connectivity, everything is available in a mobile phone because of this VLSI integration into the process. But still you will find on the panel, the touchpad panel, if you see, at least minimum required space they will maintain in the spec. So size is reduced, weight is reduced, height is reduced, so many factors they reduce, but still the space which we are touching for keypad, now it is available on the screen. So I assume this is a keypad. So we provide some space for what? Because physically if you don't touch this thing, we need to have some minimum sensible portions to that. Buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, we have to touch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minimum space is required. Beyond which we cannot reduce the size. Though the technology permitted to fabricate such mobile phones with very smaller sizes, but we don't do it because of, as a user, we need to have a physical space to touch and feel for it. There is a limitation. Bringing down to the gate size, very difficult. As the 10 nanometer, 20 nanometer is fine. As the gate size is increasing 19 nanometer, whatever we are talking about this technology, it is very difficult to do fabrication because we need to do etching process, cutting process, tracking, laying down all this process. In that level, 19 nanometer and other things is very difficult to realize. But if you use these technologies, realization of this kind of a 90 nanometer gate length is highly difficult. Though the technology says so many things, but difficulty is fabricating this. These are all research issues. How to address these issues is a separate direction. And also you should have an optical photo detector and related low noise transimpedance supply must have a linear transfer characteristic. Whenever we process with the signal, we have a cascading of many blocks which is of a similar characteristic. There is another class of solution to this problem, multimode with multi-gigabit multimode fiber with the source laser. This technology, the technique optical mode filtering OMF is proposed to reduce the number of propagating modes in MM fiber by selective excitation. By which we understand multimode fiber supports many modes. The advantages of multimode fiber itself is the supporting multiple modes. But we are, in this case, we are reducing the number of propagating modes in multimode fiber by doing this selective excitation. The sense, we don't take whatever the ray which is emitted by the laser, which we are not pushing into the multi-mode fiber. High power, because each mode will carry different power, we select and couple these selective modes to the multi-mode fiber so that it can travel for a longer distance. And next one, detection of fundamental fiber mode. There are two different modes normally we come across in optical fiber. Fundamental lower order modes and higher order modes. You remember the number? Difficult. Let me tell you. LP01. There is a mode in optical fiber. You will find a linearly polarized mode. LP01 is the very fundamental mode in optical fiber, which normally is supported by the fiber core, which travels for longer distance, which follows this core axis. And modes which are higher order modes may tend to radiate it away from the core. As the order of the mode increases, they may tend to radiate away from the core. Any modes which is deviated from the core is of no use. It's very simple theory of optical. Any modes which are deviated from the fiber core is of no use. Sometimes it may add into the core, or it may eventually decay as it propagates. So we need to detect this fundamental fiber modes for transmission. And some of the key issues is in optical mode filtering. We can broadly group or summarize what is this optical mode filtering. Is the first one, selective laser light launch into multi-mode fiber. Couple as much as power which is possible to the fundamental fiber mode. That is done by simple coupling. If the coupling efficiency is good, it is better to have this single mode or multi-mode that we couple to the laser. So before you will do this process, essentially we need to select the modes which are responsible for propagation and then allow to propagate. Otherwise there is no. So that is why we say very eagerly looking for refreshment. Fundamental fiber mode. Okay. Selective light detection at the MM fiber by section by means of spatial selective filter. Again, we have a spatial selective filter. So all faces are very bright and we expect you to smile like this till the end of the session so that everybody will be happy. So we have to think there is a selective light detection at multi-mode fiber end section by means of a spatial selective filter. That means at the fiber end there is a filter section which is placed, which is of nature this selective light detection. That particular wavelength alone will be sensitized, select, and then responsive for detection of OE conversion. Minutes is there because we are doing with the programming mode now. I am programmed to take up to 440. And between if break is happened to you, we all be very happy. And this process will continue in 440. The laser source coupled field must match the fundamental fiber mode in order to transfer as much as power as possible. This numerical aperture is a very interesting characteristic of optical fiber, which is having very good coupling with power things. Can you say some few words about numerical aperture? Anything of either related to this fight? All participants are waiting for them. Will break now, they'll be extremely happy. Please.
We'll have break.